And now it's Deborah Kobylt Live.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining my show today, Deborah Kobylt Live. And look who we've got today. Everybody kind of knows your face. You've got that face. People go, wait, I know that guy. Jake Steinfeld, friend of mine, actor, entrepreneur, fitness personality. If you didn't hear of Body by Jake, come on. I don't know where you're living. So, but you've done so much incredible work, Jake, throughout your career. You've been on the Governor's Fitness Council, I believe, or whatever it's called. We'll go through all of that. You've been the honorary mayor of the Pacific Palisades, which to me has always been so exciting. And I'm sort of ending my intro with that because you're not calling me from the Pacific Palisades. You're in a temporary place because you're one of those people, like so many, your home burned down. You're married to my friend Tracy. You've got 4 kids, grown, but still, I can't imagine what that was like. I kind of want to start there, Jake. What was that like for you, and how are you handling it?
Yeah, first of all, Deb, it's great to see you. And I love you guys. I love your husband. We actually have always had fun over the years. I recently did his radio show, and my gosh, but I know you're more powerful than he is. So this is going to be even more exciting. But seriously, it was an amazing, incredible unbelievable moment. I'm a big believer in life is about moments. And look, on January 7th, if it would have rained instead of raining fire, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we would have probably done an interview, but I would be in my house at what I call mission control in my office of literally 47 years of history of Body by Jake behind me and all the different things. And, you know, listen, this is what life is about, Deb, and easier now to talk about than if you and I had this conversation on the 8th and 9th of January when we were incredibly psychologically, if you don't mind me saying, fucked up. And I'm going to be very honest about it because I'm a guy who has lived by the words don't quit and persevere. And you don't ever imagine, first and foremost, in the year 2025. Deb, you know where we live. We live in the Huntington Pacific Palisades, in the flats. There have been catastrophes before around the world. There'll be catastrophes, unfortunately, after this moment. What we're going to talk about this morning, a lot of fun things, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
this is not a pity party for me. I mean, it was a moment, and a moment that really changed my life. My wife, Tracy, who you mentioned, I know you guys go back a long way too. Our kids at Brentwood School growing up, so we have a lot of history together, so you understand. Um, Look, to sort of put it in a nutshell, I saw the fire happen, and it was happening. Never thought in 200 million years, Deb, that this fire would ever get to, my goodness, we've seen brush fires before. I've been living here since, as you, I'm a East Coast guy. I was born and raised, I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Baldwin, Strong Island. Had a dream to come out to California to pursue my dream of bodybuilding. And this is an incredible state where, there was a dream that was California, and I came here and pursued it. Been very blessed. We were in the Palisades for 30 years in that house. Our 4 kids, Morgan is our oldest, who lives in London now, Nick and Zach, who live in New York, and my youngest guy, Lukey, who is in Brentwood. All 4 kids grew up in that house. And
Yeah.
um, here's what we learned. Here's what I learned. A lot of life, we're defined by our material things. Oh, hey, Deb, you got that gorgeous car. I love your outfit. Or you guys have the house in here or this or that. And then all of a sudden, it's gone.
Yeah.
And you really have to recalculate, you reset. It took, very candid with you, it took a good 48 hours for me. And for me, it's always about getting back into a routine. My life is a routine. I'm about the gym, right? I'm up at 3:45 in the morning. I'm in the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been doing it since I'm 18 years old. It's my drug, it's my life, it's everything. I needed to get back in the gym. We were staying at a hotel in Santa Monica, the old Lowe's hotel called the Regent, and I give a shout out to them because we stayed there for 31 days, and the most amazing, incredibly generous people, warm people there. It took care of not only me and Tracy and our daughter Morgan, who flew in from London to surprise Tracy for her birthday that was going to be on January the 10th.
Oof.
Surprise. And you know, when it's all gone, you got to look in the mirror and really say and find out, what are you made of? Like, what are you
Yeah.
really made of, Deb? And I found this sense of lightness come over
Yeah.
me, a
Wow.
sense of rebirth, a rejuvenation. I'm a pretty pumped up guy. You know me for a long time. I had electricity running through my body and continues, by the way. This has changed. You know, people have said, I have a lot of conversations with lots of people on a daily basis, my whole career and my life. And I talked to lots of different kinds of people. And, you know, I had just had some folks that I was talking to like October, November, December, before BF, before fire, you know, and kind of we're talking about our lives. And, you know, I've got a lot of things going on as an entrepreneur. I always like to create things. And someone had mentioned to me, said, you know, well, Jake, I'm sure you're probably gonna slow down a little bit, kind of doing the things that you have done. But, you know, and I thought about it for a second and I said, no, well, no, not really, but just another chapter. Well, Deb, January 7th, the morning of January 8th, when I saw that house, no,
Oh,
my house, a new book happened, right? A new book, a new moment in life. And as I said, look, everybody's got something. Everybody deals with something. Your listeners, who I know are vast and, you know, across a lot of different worlds, everybody deals with something every day. It's how you deal with it, right? Now you could have gone two ways. We could have gone two ways here. Could have rolled up in a ball and died, felt bad, pity, or get up and persevere. And
yeah.
I couldn't have done it without Tracy, couldn't have done it out without our daughter Morgan, who was right by our side, and who are four sons, our three sons, who were, you know, two in New York and one here. Actually, all three were in New York at the time. We were trying to keep abreast of what was going on, but as a family, we kept it together as we've always done. And here's the other thing I found, that, you know, I talked a lot about, you know, yeah, our home burned, but love didn't burn. You
Yeah.
know, your house is the house. It's the people in the house that bring the warmth, that bring the love, that bring the smiles, that create the memories. And that's the stuff that we carry forward into this next book, not even the next chapter, but this
Mm.
next book. You know what I'm talking about? Where now we're rebuilding. I needed to scrape that land quick, and I did.
Yeah.
And conversations I've had with your husband, who's such a great, you know, not only commentator, but a guy who a lot of people listen and learn from, and he has an incredible point of view. We talked a lot about, you know, the folks that are in leadership positions today who say things, and as we see the news and you see what's going on in this part of the country or this part of the world, and you go, I feel so bad for those people, or wow, it sounds like things are working. If you listen to the folks in positions of power today in our neck of the woods, you think everything in the Palisades is just hunky dory,
Amazing. Yeah.
and it ain't. And
No.
that's the stuff that gets you kind of aggravated. But with that brings change, and that brings momentum and movement. And it's been, I've got to say, since January 7th, I still think sometimes of the day when I get quiet that it's still January 7th, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's been an incredibly long, long, long journey. And there are moments, and Tracy and I mean, look, thankfully, we love each other. We're married 37 years, we get along, we're the best of pals. Um, and we'll say to each other, when I get a little nuts, she gets me straight. And when she gets a little nuts, I get her straight. But it's like every once in a while, I guess when it gets dark out, you know, I go, geez, okay, let's go home. We
Ooh.
passed this test. Uh, right. I just want to go and and uh and just sit in the family room, put the TV on, or sit back at mission control. And I
Mm.
always kind of envy with people like you're in your home now and you have your flowers and artwork behind you. We truly lost all of it, Deb. But
Yeah.
the other thing that you find too, and I talk about the material stuff, who cares? It's you really believe it's the truth, and we're going to rebuild. And I've been very blessed. I have dough. It's not like we're destitute, but the material things, right? The most important things that we lost were the kids' handprints. All
Mm.
the stories and the notes. I saved them all. I mean,
Yeah.
I saved all those little notes and all those stories of Morgan, Nick, and Zach and Luke growing up, their Little League pictures, their dance recitals, all that is gone. But it's not gone here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not gone here. And I'll say this, when we were evacuating, Tracy and Morgan were out on Montana, right? In Santa Monica. And as I said, Morgan had just come home to kind of surprise Tracy for her birthday, and they were getting the hair done, right? And they were checking in with me, and I said, "Look, I think we're going to be all right." And then there was a moment at around 5 o'clock.
Mm.
Never forget it. The winds changed, and the smoke just engulfed our neck of the woods. And I said to Tracy, "You got to get home. It's time
Ooh.
to go." And
Oh.
I said, "What should I grab for you?" She gave me some things. I went down and I'm in my office. And as you can imagine, Deb, you in your office or anyone who's listening right now, you have 15 minutes. It's a home that you've lived in
Mm.
30 years. What do you take? Right? So I took the important documents. Now on my desk, if you can visualize for a second, a lot of people listening to us, not watching us, I have a desk. I had a desk, right? At the top left, there was a poem that I was given when I was cut from my eighth grade basketball team called Don't Quit, right? And that poem was on a permaplaque. If you remember, our generation knows what permaplaques are,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And it was at the top left of my desk. And that plaque, that poem has been with me since I'm 14 years old. Wherever I lived, wherever I went, that poem traveled with me, and I put it right to the top left. I'm a lefty, and I could always grab it and read it and look at it, and I am putting things in a duffel bag, and I
Mm.
immediately go pick up the "Don't Quit" poem, and I'm about to put it in the duffel bag, Deb, and I stop, and I literally out loud say, "What am I doing? I can't take this. I take this, I'm quitting on my house." And I literally put it back down, Deb, and I put my
Oh.
hand on it, and I said, "I'm going to be back tomorrow morning to read this."
Ooh.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But,
Oh.
you know,
Wow.
when I end this show with you, I'll do what I did with your husband, and I'll recite the poem because it's something that became a Bible verse to me, and it's something that has gotten me through uh, challenging moments, challenging times, both personally, professionally. And I want to share it with your audience at the end of the show. But listen, this has been an incredible few months, and so many unbelievably great things have happened to me. I mean, the amount of people who have reached out,
Yeah.
uh, you really see it's pretty amazing. how amazing people are. And I've said this, in times of catastrophe, everybody kind of works together. Deb, no matter what color, no matter what creed, no matter what race, no matter what you believe in, someone will say, hey, let me help you.
Yeah.
Let me help you out, right? During earthquakes and fires and 9/11s and things like that, people come together. Christmas, right? People open the door for each other. I always say, and I've said this for a long time, why can't it be Christmas every day? Why can't it be
It's
nice?
true. It is
Right. I mean,
true.
why can't we all? I know I'm like rainbows and lollipop guy, but that's who I am. That's how I live my life. Is why the hell can't we all just work together? Especially, by the way, we live in the greatest state in the country, in the world, right? And I came here because of a dream that was California, right? And as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I pursued it, achieved it more than I could ever dreamed of. And I could never have achieved what I've achieved here anywhere else in the world yet.
Yeah.
But today, literally my home burned. Metaphorically, California's burning. And that makes me sad. That makes me sad because forget about you and me, because we're us, and we got to think about our kids and their kids and their kids' kids, and about how great this state was, and how do we restore and bring back not only the dream but hope. And it's about bringing good people together, and that's in a crazy thing. On January the 9th, a friend of mine who one of the hosts of Fox and Friends, his name is Brian Kilmeade, really good dude. I've known him for a long, long time. He was actually my sideline guy when I launched Major League Lacrosse in summer 2000. He's now since become a big bacha, big star, but a great guy. And, I was getting a lot of calls from news agencies. Would I want to sit on their show and talk about the fire? And I said, no, absolutely not. Thank you very much. Remember, I'm the pom-pom guy. I'm the everything is great guy. And, we all have that shell over us.
Oh, yeah.
And I call it the M&M effect, where, we all have a shell to kind of cover, in most of us, that sweet filling, that you don't ever, a lot of times don't want to show, because it might be a sign of weakness. It might be, whatever. We all have our own stuff. And when the fire happened, that shell broke for me. And it's been an incredibly emotional 4 months, 5 months, going to the top of the 6 month. But it's really changed me, Deb, in a great way, where emotionally, I think, crying I've never been, afraid of that. I mean, if I see a good commercial, I'll cry. I'm doing like this, but crying's a pretty good thing, by the way. I will promote that. To show emotion, to feel emotion is a good thing. It's a cleansing. And, we go through these stages and steps of emotion, and it's a really good thing, especially when you're able to have someone like I have with my wife, Tracy, who we share together, and our kids, we talk about this together, because it's not all awesome stuff. Go ahead, pal. You're going to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, a couple of things.
That's right. It's your show, and you got questions. You want things to do.
Wait, this is really funny, because I was preparing questions and I was talking to my husband, because as you mentioned, you were on his show on KFI. And I said, I have a few questions prepared. He goes, you won't need them. Jake, he will keep going. And it's 20 minutes, and you gave me some of the best material. I didn't have to answer a thing. I was thinking I could just go get a glass of water. I'll come back. You're amazing, Jake. You're amazing. But very briefly, there's a bunch of stuff I want to cover. But I noticed you said something, okay? You got up and you kept moving. I want people to know this, because people who are feeling down, destitute, not just about the fire, but about anything. How do you pick yourself back up? I noticed you said routine. That's very important. My husband does that. He's got a routine. And let me tell you, if I get in the way of that daily routine, it's like, oh, I have 2 more minutes. I'm like, what do you mean 2 minutes? But I've learned to understand and respect that, because when you stick to a routine and when you move, and God knows you move, right? I mean, that's your life. Um, that really helps. And I want people to know that a page out of your book, those two things right there can help sort of bring you out when you're feeling pretty awful or pretty destitute, or like nothing good is going to happen. Just try to establish a routine, right?
Yeah. So I mean, just to expound upon that, just kind of think about this if you can visualize for a second. If you have a black cloud over your head, you're in a rut. You can't get out of this rut. There's a lot of people listening right now are kind of shaking their head. Wait a second, and how does this guy know
Right.
about me? And look, my go-to, and you said it in your way, is moving my body, is moving your body, is exercise.
It
Look,
is.
exercise is boring and exercise is all that, but you know what? When you find, and change, by the way, is very hard to do, Deb. Is
Yeah.
very hard to do, except when you have the right motivation and the right inspiration and the right tools, change becomes attainable. So
Yeah.
if you're feeling down, it's one step. Get out and take a walk. Sit down and do a stretch. If you're in an apartment, you're in a house, wherever you are, the easiest thing in the world to do is begin to move your body. If you have aches and pains and you can't move your legs, then move your arms. If you can't move your arms, move your legs. And if you're just sitting down like you are right now, I am right now, squeeze your buttissimo for a 10 count. Squeeze the ab, press down in your abadabas, right? Breathe out and breathe down. And you're flexing, called isometrics, old school terminology, right? And you're engaging the muscles. Do a little bit every day. This is not about, you don't want to make exercise a second job. You
Right.
want to make exercise a part of your lifestyle,
Yeah.
because when you fit a workout routine into your lifestyle, you stay with it. It's
Hmm.
when you try to fit your lifestyle into a program, that's when you dip in and dip out because you can't stay with it. And it's about repetition. Life is about reps, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
you over the years, look how much better you've gotten at doing your show and being you and feeling positive when you interview, whether it me or anybody. You know what you're doing. The first time, I remember the first TV show I ever did. I'll tell you this: it was with Regis Philbin here, local ABC affiliate, and I'll never forget it. I think it was 1979,
Oh, wow.
and I did what was it, Good Morning LA or Good Day, whatever it was.
Whatever.
And he had me, and I put on, and I had this extra medium Baby Gap, if Baby Gap was around, t-shirt with a pair of white painter pants. It was an orange Nike shirt. And I weighed about 250 pounds with a 30-inch waist, man. And I mean, I was huge. And all I
Wow.
remember was they had a bench press. They had a bench on the set, and I was going to show Regis how to do a bench press. Now, I was nervous as hell. I'd never done TV before, and literally there was a monitor off to the side, right?
Yeah.
And I got a glimpse of the monitor, and I'm looking at myself, and I'm going, wow, man, looking huge. Now, by the way, now I'm
That's
not
that
saying,
is
man, wait a second, I'm not saying it. I'm just like feeling it. Now, remember, I did this segment, and I don't know how long this segment was, 3 minutes. All I remember, I was sweating and I was dripping sweat on Regis's face and whatever, but I kept looking at myself in the monitor. And I remember after the segment was over, there was no cell phones in 78. I got back to my apartment and my parents had moved to LA. They were living in New York. I came out first. My family came out almost 2 years after me. my father called me. He says, what were you looking at? I go, what do you mean,
Oh,
Dad? He said, I saw the segment. He goes, first of all, you're sweating. I go, yeah. What do you mean? He goes, what were you staring at? I go, I was looking at myself on camera. He goes, don't do that again. But
that is so funny. And I've done that myself. I have done that. I'm looking at myself going, oops, suck it in. You know what I mean? And then as soon as the camera, but I know, of course, not to do that, but it's your first time, right? You have to check
anyway,
yourself out.
we digress back to movement and exercise and rhythm and routine. And that's what got me straight. And that's what always gets me straight. When I was literally famished, as my grandmother would say. I got back into that rhythm and got back into my routine and got myself balanced, and I was able to attack the day. And the other thing too is, and this is a note for everybody, we all have ideas and things that we need to do on a daily basis. In times of challenge, a lot of other things come into play, whether it's insurance companies or dealing with doctors or whatever it might be. You want to take a yellow pad. I'm a big believer in this. Write things down. Write your tasks down on a piece of paper, because when you see them on a piece of paper, they're attainable. And once you achieve the task, and I'm talking about as simple as make the bed, brush the teeth, simple, cross it off, cross it off, cross it off. So by the end of your day, you've looked at what you've accomplished, and you transfer that yellow pad, what you didn't do, to the next one. And I'll tell you this, the way I train, and I combine my cardio and my muscular workout together. And I've been doing this for a long time. It's a 42-minute, not a 43-minute, not a 41-minute, a 42-minute routine. And what I do during that workout is I visualize what I am going to accomplish that day. So this morning at 3:45, not that I played out what you and I were talking about, but I knew that I was doing this show with you. And I've got 3 other shows that I'm doing during this day. We're also going to meet with our architects, right? And I have an interview with a newspaper later in the day. And I just played through. So as I was doing my reps, as I was doing my sets, right? Today is Wednesday, shoulders and legs. And every exercise, I would go through not only the reps and the exercises and the rhythm and the repetition of my day. So by the time 42 minutes was over, not only did I achieve what the workout was, got my cardio, muscular workout in, I visualized and accomplished my day. So by the time I got upstairs here to the apartment again, it was about 5 a.m. And I'm on the phone with my East Coast call, so I'm ready to go. That's what you want to do.
I love this. You're ready to go. And by the way, people, for those people who don't know Jake as I do, you really walk your talk. Is that the way to say it? Sometimes I say it backwards, talk your walk. Like you were, right? You really do. You are like this in person. We saw you and Tracy in the Palisades, remember, at breakfast one day?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, at the Caruso Village.
Yeah.
And that was, honestly, during the holidays. And what a difference a couple of weeks makes. And I thought about that. Yep. And I thought about that moment many times. I really did. By the way, and I want to go on to other things, but we were hiking that morning on the 7th. We always go to Padero Canyon. We're always there twice a day. That's just where we go. And that morning it was so windy, and I took video because I took note. And I said, John, something's going to happen. Isn't that terrible? And and I took video. You could hear me saying it on the video.
Wow.
Because do you know how many forest fires or fires that I've covered as a news person? Many. And you get a vibe. But to your point, nobody ever in a million years, thought it would cross over Sunset and go to the flattest of flat area. Incredible. Let me move on though for a minute, because we've got a lot to cover in the short amount of time we have. I'm going to tell you what it is so you can time yourself. And I'm going to tell John, who's upstairs, man, were you right? Because I need 2 hours with you.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about Body by Jake, but and a few other things, maybe any political aspirations. Wouldn't that be great? Other projects you're working on. But let me start with your acting career. I mentioned this on the phone and you said, no, Deborah, don't tell me, because I know you know what I'm going to mention. I have a few favorite movies in my life. They're from growing up that always made me happy. One is Birdcage. You are not in Birdcage,
Right.
but that thing makes me laugh. I could watch it 10 times in a night, and I'll
I
always
think
find
Robin
something.
Williams and Nathan Lane
Oh
in
my
that movie are
God.
just the best. The
And
best.
and Hank
And
Azaria
Hank
falling over.
Azaria. Oh my God.
But another one, Coming to America with Eddie Murphy and oh my gosh, and Arsenio Hall. I could another 100 times, right? It's just I can't stand how funny that is. Right now it's making me laugh. And there you are. I'm not certainly this is no spoiler alert because it's been out forever. Driving the taxi, and you look over. I could just die. That's such a moment to me. And you've done
Yeah.
lots of acting. Please, that's not the only thing you've
Yeah.
done. You've done TV, film, but of all the things you've done, that moment is my favorite. Do you
Well,
love acting? Do you love the
I
process?
do. You know what?
Yeah,
A dear friend of mine, and John Landis, who directed that movie, the great
yeah,
John
yeah.
Landis, who did Animal House and Trading Places, and I mean, he directed Thriller and Michael Jackson. John was a client,
Yes,
and to this day, John is always mad at me. He said, "You destroyed your life by doing the fitness thing. You should have been an actor, Jake.
you should have.
You know." And well, listen, thank you. But I love that moment of coming to America. And I will say, Deb, I can't tell you on a daily basis
Yeah.
how many people stop me. And, you know, the first line that I say is, well, I already used the F bomb, but, you know, when I jump out of the cab, but we shot
Oh,
5 days and we were in that cab, me and Eddie and Arsenio. I'll give you a little fun anecdote, and it won't
yeah.
be fun. That when we were shooting, we shot at Kennedy Airport. We shot at British
Oh,
Airways Terminal, right and we were looking at the Concorde when it was still there. And I was sitting with Arsenio when he got the call to replace Joan Rivers.
oh,
How about that?
wow.
Yeah. And he was great, and Eddie was terrific, and I mean, the three of us were in a cab for 5 days, and
Oh,
Eddie, you know, busting balls and telling funny stories and telling jokes, and it was great, and never really knowing that Louis Anderson and I were the only two white guys in the movie. Only
it
two white
was the
people.
best. Oh, you know what's one of my favorites too? When they were in the bar and Arsenio, dressed as a woman, just said, "I'm going to tear you up," or something like that. Look, I can't do Arsenio, right? But
It was
people
great.
go out and take a look at the movie again because I'm going to say to John, I don't know if we're doing anything later. Let's watch that movie
Watch
again
it again
because
because and
oh
when they were doing when they did Coming to America 2, they called me to reprise my role. Now,
yeah,
John Landis was not directing, and quite frankly, and I appreciate you bringing it up, but I'm just going to say that that cab driver that I played was probably the best cab driver ever in the history of film. I'm not. This is not me saying it. This is well, it's me saying it, and I probably should have gotten an Academy Award nomination for it. I didn't, but I didn't want to reprise the role again because I just couldn't top what I did the first time.
that was very
Honestly,
smart of
and,
you.
and that's why I passed.
Okay, next time I go to Hollywood, I'm going to buy you one of those Best Actor.
Please
I am going to do it. You said you should have gotten an
listen,
Academy Award, and
Deb,
I mean it. It might take me a year by the time I go to one of those shops, but I swear I'm going to do it. I'll remember because I will, and I'm going to get it for you.
and
Anyway, let me move on. Go
and
ahead.
as I say though, a legend in my own shower. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, I love that. I got to tell that one to my husband.
Go ahead.
Wait, where was I going? You have also worked out some pretty heavy hitters, right? Harrison Ford. Who else have you worked out? Like some of the
Listen, why
biggest
don't
of
we
the.
do this, Deb? How about this?
What?
Let me tell you a couple of stories. So,
Yeah, I like stories.
I came out to LA, well, let me go back really quick and we'll keep it tight. I was an overweight kid, had a bad stutter growing up. My dad bought me a set of weights at 13 and it changed my life. And I
Yeah.
immediately had a dream that I wanted to go to California to become Mr. America because this is the Mecca. I came out here. I left college. I went to college upstate New York, Cornell University.
A little bit.
Right. Okay. Well, I went to Cortland down the street, and and where, with no disrespect to the Red Dragon,
No,
but
no, no, no.
I lasted 90 days, and then I retired and came to LA to pursue my dream. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I read all the muscle magazines. Everyone said eat 18 eggs and 24 chickens a day, and you two have become Mr. America. Well, I clucked a lot, but it never happened because nobody talked about steroids. And this was 1978. I entered the Mr. Southern California contest, came in second place. I remember, got here summer 77. I left college, my family, girlfriend, all my friends, and everybody to a T, my parents included, said, you'll be home. Get it out of your system and you'll go for 6 months and we'll keep your room together and we'll keep you enrolled in college. And
Oh,
like that. And when I came in second place in Mr. Southern California, the guy that beat me was on steroids. I had to make a decision. I talk a lot about this too, about decision making. If you have to think about something too long, probably something you shouldn't be doing. And
oh,
this was a quick decision because I was afraid of putting a needle in my own battissimo. And with that decision, what went through my mind was this. I love working out. I love how I felt. It was 1979 now. I didn't want to go back to New York a loser, right? Because I left,
mm,
I'm coming home to be Mr. America.
yeah,
Said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I love working out and I love LA and I love California and I'm going to stay. And fortunately for me, right place, right time. And we do an extended version of this show. I was the first guy to do personal fitness training
yeah,
and made it an occupation. And you mentioned people like the great Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg, Priscilla Presley, Bette Midler, Warren Beatty, Barbara Streisand, Jane Fonda. I trained all these guys and learned some incredible lessons, Deb. What I learned most importantly is they're no different than us.
no,
The only difference is they had a dream and they never quit on their dream and they never
yeah,
took no for an answer. And that gave me all the incentive in the world to say to myself, I might never direct ET2, but I'm going to have my own success in life. And I was
yeah,
able to parlay that famous by association into books and videos and television shows by listening and learning from these great people because they were great. And every one of them in their own way propped me up and pushed me forward.
yeah.
Turner gave me my start doing the fitness break on cable news network. And then I went
Oh,
first run syndication. Then I was on ESPN. Then I had a dream to create a television network called Fit TV. Uh,
right.
all the time, all the while in the fitness space, was the first one to do fitness infomercials and had tremendous success. I did 17 years on Home Shopping Network. And then important to give back. Um, I was chair of the Fitness Council when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor here. And I had a dream to put fitness centers in elementary and middle schools around the country. Giving back is a big thing for me. I think for everybody, they should give back. I've been very blessed, and the way I did it is I took on this position of chair of the National Foundation for Governors Fitness Councils, where a simple mission, I would call governors cold. I had a gift of 3 brand new $100,000 Don't Quit Fitness Centers for your great state, Governor Deb. And all you got to do is get on the phone with me. We talk for 5 minutes. We do a joint press release telling everybody I'm coming to your great state. We do a contest for elementary and middle. And I love elementary and middle because kids are still in that Gumby-ish stage.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we then do a contest. Ask schools, tell us why your school deserves a brand new $100,000 Don't Quit Fitness Center. And I just need you, Deb, to come to at least one of the ribbon cuttings in October. And that's all I ask. And I'm proud to announce that we achieved that goal and mission this past October. I went to all 50 states, stood next
Oh,
to
wow.
48 governors, and millions of kids, hundreds of thousands of kids every single day are going through Don't Quit Fitness Centers and not just building their bodies, not just building their confidence, not just building their self-esteem and their physical health, but mental health. And all of it wrapped up because academics and fitness go hand in hand. And this upward spiral of success happens when you're exercising, especially as a kid, because you're not homesick. You're less fidgety in school. You're less fidgety. You're more focused. You're more focused. You do better on your tests. you do better on your tests, your teachers are proud of you, your parents are proud of you, and you can look in the mirror and be proud of who you are.
Be
And
proud of yourself.
building
That's right.
confidence and self-esteem. And I always end each of, we do a big ribbon cutting with the governor. And as I said, I've been to all 50 states, whether it inner city schools, rural schools, reservation schools, stood next to the Sioux Nation chief and incredible, incredible people. And to be able to give back, and this is a gift that really starts to give when we leave. Give the schools the tools. It's amazing to see what happens.
Absolutely incredible. Look, you've been around the political arena quite a bit. Ever thought of running for anything?
Well, that's a loaded question.
I know.
Well, listen,
I know.
I'll tell you this. As I said when we opened this conversation, if it would have rained on January 7th, as opposed to rain and fire, you probably might have asked this question to me, and I would have probably said, "What, are you insane? Absolutely not. I love work in the private sector. I've done so much good that way." And now listen, Deb, I've been a Democrat, I've been a Republican, I've been a Democrat, and I've been a Republican. I'm a Republican now. I'm a businessman. And
Yeah.
I'm a pro-choice guy. I'm pro-family. I'm pro-education. I love the climate. I love this state. I mean, look, I started my career. I was an advisor on the coach George Allen on the President's Council of Fitness with President Reagan.
Yeah.
I did a sitcom with Pat Robertson on the Family Channel, which was the Christian Broadcasting Network. And through him met the Bushes and Dan Quayle. And I worked with Bill Clinton in the administration. I worked with the Obama administration. And as I said, I've stood next to 48 of 50 governors. So my thing is about getting people together. And I'm all about, as an entrepreneur, you know what you know. And the stuff you don't know, you get the right people around you.
Yeah.
And I've used this before on you, is that, if you don't, you end up becoming a legend in your own shower. Right?
Look, just to interrupt for a second, and I know where you're going with this. Somebody needs to step up and do the right thing, right? We do. Because look what's happening in Los Angeles in terms of film production, practically down to zero.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, and we absolutely can get it back. This is a creative town, and no matter where you go, have lunch, dinner, coffee shop, they're creative people. And
Deb, there's
right.
a lot of great people, and here's what has to happen. Look, people have asked me, and this, and I'll go back to the moment that it happened, and it goes back to Brian Kilmeade on that Fox and Friends segment that I did on January the 8th, right, or the 9th, whatever the morning was, and I was just saying, I'm really not liking what our public officials are saying. And I said, listen, I'm not about red or blue. I'm about the red, white, and blue. My life is that way. I'm about hope. I'm about family. I'm about health and getting people together. That's what I do as an entrepreneur. And he said, Jake, you should think about running for governor. And I said, look, I'm not saying no, Bri. And that was the beginning. And it hasn't slowed down. And I will say, have not made any decisions. I'm seriously thinking about it. Tracy, my wife, who is the most amazing person on the planet. As an entrepreneur, married to an entrepreneur, I've won some, I've lost some. I've won a little bit more than I've lost. But as an entrepreneur, I love taking shots. And my life has always been: don't get ready, don't get set, just go.
Look, we need somebody to take the reins of what's happening. I mean, look at our gas prices could also possibly go to over $8 a gallon starting in January, and we already know why. Don't need to get into that long political discussion.
But you know what it is? More importantly, we can't look backwards, because this has been decades in the making, and I'm not one. Look, you know what? The time has got to stop for making fun of people and blistering people, because you know what? I think Karen Bass seems like a nice lady. I think Gavin Newsom is probably a very nice guy. The people that are running, I'm sure Kamala Harris seems like a very nice lady. But I'm just saying now, in this moment, for this time, this is not about checkers. This is chess. And what I've been doing just carefully is have a whiteboard and just put really good people around me because I am hardly a genius. And what I do know how to do is lead and delegate
Yeah.
and get the right people in place to motivate them for all of us working together. And that is to restore, really, Deb, the what the dream of California was, and to bring hope back. And I said it, I'll say it again. Yeah, maybe someone's listening right now and go, oh my gosh, come on, Jake. Put the
No.
top and rainbows down. But you know what? We need it now. We do. Forget
Yeah.
about us. It's for our kids and their kids. I want our kids to be able to afford to buy a home.
Yeah.
Gas prices. You know, I've got good people ready to take on climate, take on education, take on all these challenges, crime, homelessness. We don't need to berate people.
No.
How to figure out, like I said in the beginning, how do we make it like it's Christmas? And all of us work together to find a good, positive way. I might get beat up for it, but you know what? I ain't changing. And that's what it
No.
is. And by the way, if I decide to do this thing, I promise you'll be second or third. And I promise my guys, and I promise your husband. So, it'll all be in due time, but I won't just do this. I have no other aspirations politically, but to get this place straight and to help get this place straight with the right people, because you can't do it by yourself. It's a team effort, and that's what we have to do.
I only have two more questions because I only have about 2 more minutes or so. What are you working on next, other than any possible political aspirations, and also Body by Jake or anything else? How can we go on our phones and get what you have on a daily basis, right?
Oh, I
Tell
wish
us
I
about
could.
that.
I'm terrible with social media, but on Instagram, it's official body.
No, but I mean, like, do we have a Body by Jake app or something like that maybe you're
I don't.
developing?
You know what? I've been always so super careful, incredibly private on a lot of things like that. I will say I've had a beverage company called Don't Quit, which is my trademark, and we've been in California now for a few years. Our protein shakes have done great, and we are launching the first protein soda coming July 4th weekend. Albertson, Safeway Pavilion,
Wow.
Ralph's, everywhere in California and around the country. And you think about this category, modern soda, has really taken off with the pre and probiotic. There's other brands out there, Poppy and Olipop, who, the efficacy of gut health is hard to measure, but nutritionists are saying that for every pound you are, you need a gram of protein. And that's a hard thing to do. And I'm just going to show you because I just happen to have this sitting here because I was going to drink it in a second. This is it. This is our Don't Quit Orange
Yeah.
protein soda. And this is our 16-ounce can, 20 grams of protein, right? 20 grams of protein, zero sugar, right? And it's got 80 calories in it. It's got a little caffeine,
Wow.
no, and it's delicious. And it's got 20 grams of protein. And by the way, this is our protein meter on the side. So as you drink it, the Coors cans that when
Yeah.
the blue lights up the mountain, this dissipates and turns the color as you drink your protein soda. So it's kind of cool, feels great, and working on a new book. Got a television show. There's a movie in the works, and just love spending time with Tracy. And look, the exciting thing is we are rebuilding a home that
Yeah.
we have in the Palisades. And before I leave, I promised you this, and I want to do this for your audience, and it's good for me to recite that poem called "Don't Quit." And I did it for your husband and his audience, and I'll do it for you and yours. And the poem is "Don't Quit," and it's when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learn. And many a failure turned about when you might have won had you stuck it out. Don't give up though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when your hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit. Don't quit. Deb, awesome talking to you. Peace.
You are
I'll keep you posted.
You are incredible. Jake Steinfeld, thank you so much for joining me. There's so much else I wanted to talk to you about. You know what? Sometimes John and I do a show together. It would be fun to have you on with the two of us. Honestly, there's so much more to talk to you about. But thank you for leaving my audience feeling very inspired. That's like an overword, that word can be overused, but you know what I mean. I feel inspired. That poem was beautiful, and it sort of has risen from the ashes. Let's face it. You didn't take it with you, but it's with you right here.
Yeah,
so,
and I wanted to share it with you because you're awesome and you've always been great. You always have a great smile, and you keep doing what you're doing because the world needs you, Deb, and your words and messages, and us together. It's how we do it. Don't quit. Love to your family. See ya.
Love to you too, and everybody. You can find my interview with Jake on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, and then also on YouTube, on Facebook, and then as we'll be cutting up clips and putting them all over our Instagram as well. So just look us up as an audio and a video podcast. Deborah Kobylt Live with Jake Steinfeld. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.